Sometimes, AAA video games can be a bit generic and safe with their concepts and gameplay. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. A lot of great games in recent years can be described as such. But if you really want something different, you gotta go to the indie scene. It's in said indie scene that a game like Rock of Ages exists. I can only imagine Rock of Ages came to be when one guy, Ace Team, the game's developers, really wanted to make his Super Monkey Ball inspired game, but he had to pitch it against another guy's tower defense game, and their boss really liked Monty Python and decided to combine all of them at once. However this game actually came to be, it's been successful enough that not only is it a pretty fun game unto itself, but it got 2 sequels. So today, let's take a look at Rock of Ages, and why you should play it. Rock of Ages 1 came out in 2011. It was developed by Ace Team and published by Atlas USA. In Rock of Ages, you play as Sisyphus, the ancient Greek king cursed to roll a boulder up a hill for all eternity guy. One day, you get fed up with Cronus, for some reason taking the place of Hades, and decide enough is enough. Hell has a door, and you have a boulder. Using that boulder you burst out, and start causing trouble throughout history, running into various historical figures. Let's talk visuals, since they're kind of hard to ignore. If you listen to other people describe this game, they usually call the art style Monty Python-esque, and it's a pretty apt comparison. Like the works of Terry Gilliam, Rock of Ages likes to take real-world images and give them motion and expression. This could be as simple as moving the whole image as one piece, or taking parts of the image, like its limbs, and animating it through those. It gives its cutscenes a very memorable style. Gameplay-wise, the graphics are a little more complicated. The courses you roll down and the obstacles you build are pretty simple looking. Not that that's a bad thing, as it makes it easy to identify when rolling at high speeds. Then you have the citizenry of each level as the flat art cutout style, interlaced into the 3D. Finally, you actually have the skyboxes and the out of bounds art, which the designers actually put a lot of effort into. You can find a lot of hidden detail that didn't need to be there, and it makes Rock of Ages look great. Not to be outdone though, the music is also pretty good. Rock of Ages employs a jovial classical soundtrack that fits the game to a T, sampling real-world classical composers such as Bach and Mozart. It fits the game perfectly. I'll also give mention to the sound effects. The small things go a long way in this game and it wouldn't be the same without them, such as the boulder screaming no when it falls off the cliff, or the sound of squishing your opponent being reminiscent of the Monty Python foot. So what's the gameplay like? At each level, you'll face off against a historical figure, rolling boulders to bust down the door to each other's bases, to finally squash them with said boulder. Gameplay is split into 2 parts. The first part is the build stage. You're presented with identical courses which you and your opponent will have to roll a boulder through. In the build stage, you'll set up obstacles to disrupt your opponent, as they set up obstacles to disrupt you. These obstacles can include things like towers to act as walls, animals to run into you, catapults to cause damage, and more. As you progress, you'll unlock higher tiers of each, at the cost of them being more expensive. You'll have to spend what coin you have to strategically place them, either to make your opponent take longer, or cause them enough damage to disrupt their boulder, as damaging it enough will cause them to deal less damage to your base. Some stages also include obstacles of their own, such as giant beasts or cannons. Building around them can be very effective. While in build mode, you can also manually drop stuff on your opponent's boulder to cause damage as they're rolling. Once enough time has passed, your boulder will be ready and it's your turn to go down the course. The second gameplay type is the roll stage. You have /R a boulder. You have an obstacle course to get through as fast as you can, while taking as little damage as possible. At the end of the course is your opponent's gate, which will try to hit with as much health and speed as possible to damage. It will take at least 3 hits to break down, but once you do, you can squish your opponent for the win. Controlling the boulder is a matter of balancing direction and momentum. You are a boulder, so once you start going, you can't just stop on a dime or change direction 90 degrees. Having said that, I'd say the boulder controls pretty well. Once you get used to how the momentum and jumping works, you can pull off some pathways that are riskier, but save time. There are speedrun trials as well, which can challenge you to find the fastest way to the end. It's interesting to see how much of the level you can bypass if you're good enough. Another thing to consider is purposely rolling into things. I mentioned using money to build obstacles, but you get said money by destroying the environment. But doing so also damages your boulder, so you have to play it smart. Later in the game, you'll get the option of giving your boulder a special coating, such as armor to take more damage, or fire to deal more damage to a gate. They cost a lot though, and they're only one-time use per level, so knowing if and when to use them makes a difference. All that money could be spent on building more obstacles. While rolling through each level, there will also be collectible keys, usually placed slightly off the beaten path, or in a position where you'll have to make a difficult jump. These are a nice addition, though criticism where it's due, a handful of the keys feel needlessly difficult to get. The keys only appear in this game though, and I don't know why they didn't carry them forward. Finally, there's another aspect of the rolling gameplay you may not have expected. This game has boss battles. Full-blown boss battles where instead of rolling around a stage to smash a door, you fight a giant active enemy that either attacks you directly or spawns in defenses. Roll around dodging their attacks and hit them 3 times for the win. I mentioned time attack mode, but there is one other mode safe for multiplayer. Besides just basic multiplayer utilizing the regular game systems, the developers had an ingenious idea to include a skee-ball mode and an obstacle course mode. They also made it so you can play as a cube. Rock of Ages is fun and unique, and while short, I think there's a lot to enjoy here, and apparently I'm not the only one who thought so. Rock of Ages 2 would eventually come out in 2017, once again developed by Ace Team, and is a perfect sequel. It did a lot to improve upon the formula, introducing a lot more obstacles and boulders, a non-linear progression system, improved graphics, and one of the best final bosses in all of video games. Unfortunately, Rock of Ages 3 didn't get the same love, with the focus of the title being on its level creator, and its campaign suffering in various aspects because of it. Regardless, Rock of Ages 1 and 2 are very much worth playing. If I had to recommend one, I'd say to go with the sequel, but you can't go wrong with seeing where it all started. So if you like Monkey Ball, Monty Python, fun gameplay, or just hitting things with boulders, go try Rock of Ages.